Top stories from around the island. To the point. Without the fluff. Puerto Rico headline news. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell notification.
Hello and welcome to Puerto Rico Headline News for April 9th, 2020. This is your COVID-19 update for Puerto Rico, along with covering the numbers that have been released today by the Department of Health. I'm also going to cover an article that's a little concerning, and it mentions about 789 police officers that are currently quarantined here in the island, and 18 have tested positive for the coronavirus. So we'll go into that article a little bit and see where these police officers are from. But let's go ahead and get into this article for today, April 9th, Thursday. The Department of Health is reporting 9 additional deaths that were added. Now, it's interesting to know that's 2 that recently died, but 7 that were later added. And we'll see the reasons behind that. So let's go ahead and get into this article, and it reads, the Department of Health confirmed on Thursday that deaths from COVID-19 or the coronavirus rose to 33 in Puerto Rico, while the number of confirmed cases increased to 683, which represented 63 additional new confirmed cases compared to yesterday. Now, according to an agency press release, the increase in deaths corresponds to 2 recent deaths and 7 that were added due to the fact that their clinical symptoms at the time of death were representative or compatible with the coronavirus. So we'll get into a little bit more detail on that. Before that, this is the graph that's provided by the Department of Health. This just gives us a visual idea of the new confirmed cases and by day. So here we see there was a drop yesterday that was reported by the Department of Health, and now today there's an increase back up. So just to give us an idea, and obviously we expect the numbers to increase as the testing increases as well. For now, the amount of tests that are conducted every day are pretty low. This is the additional graph that they also provide just to give us a visual on the amount of confirmed cases that are occurring on a daily basis, and we can see the upward trend so far here in Puerto Rico. So the article continues to mention the Department of Health announced yesterday, Wednesday, that it had adjusted the reporting system for deaths from the virus to the new guidelines that are presented by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC. So they're asking people to implement a new system of reporting, and let's go ahead and take a look and see what that is. So we see here the article that I'm going to pull up is directly from the cdc.gov website. I did a search for new CDC reporting for deaths. I clicked on this link here, and it immediately had me download the following document. So here we see the document that the link had me download, a PDF file, Vital Statistics Reporting Guidance. This was issued for April 2020. It's provided by the CDC. But what really stands out, and there's a summary of this article or of this file here, and I'm going to read it. It's in this highlighted section here, the conclusion of what the new guidelines are. And it says here, an accurate count of the number of deaths due to COVID-19 infection, which depends in part on proper death certification, is critical to ongoing public health surveillance and response. When a death is due to COVID-19, it is likely that the UCOD, and thus it should be reported on the lowest line used in Part 1 of the death certificate. Ideally, testing for COVID-19 should be conducted, but it is acceptable to report COVID-19 on a death certificate without this confirmation if the circumstances are compelling within a reasonable degree of certainty. So what they're saying here is whenever there's a reported death, regardless of the reasons why, if the symptoms appear to be that of COVID-19, then it's saying here it can be written down as a death due to COVID-19, even if the testing hasn't been done, if there's a reasonable degree of certainty. Obviously, it says here, ideally, testing for COVID-19 should be conducted, but it's still acceptable um, if at the time of death the symptoms appear at a reasonable degree to have been due or a death due to COVID-19. So this is a new adjustment that's being done, and we see an example of what it will do to the amount of deaths that will be reported, especially here in Puerto Rico, as we saw an increase of 7 deaths just today from people that had previously died and may have been uh, decided that they, had died from something else. But now I guess they're going to review all those deaths that have occurred to see if they can classify them as being as a result of COVID-19 based on the new CDC guidelines that you see here. And I will include a link to this at the bottom of this video. So, returning back to the article, it continues to mention the 2 deaths referred to by the Department of Health are men from the metropolitan region. These are the recent deaths that are being reported, besides the 7 that had already died. Now, on these recent 2 cases, the first case was 78 years old, who remained hospitalized. And the other case is a 43-year-old individual who was not isolated in any hospital institution and who died in circumstances still unknown. So that's a pretty scary one there. A 43-year-old did not was not at a hospital at the time of death, and the circumstances of him dying still unknown. Now the article continues to mention likewise the other cases, in other words, the 7 that were reported with the new CDC guidelines, correspond to a 50-year-old man and 2 women, 77 and 66, and they were from the metropolitan region. In addition, a man, 56-year-old man, and a woman, 70-year-old, residents of the Mayagüez region, and a 67-year-old man from Aguadilla, and that of a 53-year-old woman from the Fajardo region. And these are the deaths, along with profiles of those that were added after they had already died a while back. So we'll continue with this article here. Before that, there's this graph, another visual aid to help us understand the concentration in regards to age group of those that are being infected by the coronavirus. So here we still see here in Puerto Rico, the age group with the most confirmed cases is that between the ages of 50 to 59. And then in a close tie, we see those in the 40 to 49 age group, and then 0 to 29 is following pretty close with those that are infected with coronavirus. Again, completely different data to that happened around the world, where it tended to go toward the older age groups. But here in Puerto Rico, for some reason, it's really going after the younger people. So let's get back to this article here. And it mentions the behavior of COVID-19 on the island has followed our projections, and the case curve continues to increase. As we have previously indicated, this will continue to be the trend for the next few days. So it is up to us to reinforce all the social distancing measures imposed by the government and those of prevention at the individual level. Only in this way will we be able to slow down this contagion curve and avoid a greater impact on our territory or island. And this was stated by the Department of Health Secretary Lorenzo Gonzalez through a press release. Now, the official indicated that of the total of the 63 new positive or confirmed cases today, 3 were processed in the Department of Health laboratory, 2 were confirmed in the Veterans Hospital, and 58 were confirmed in private laboratories on the island. So we see the great work that these private labs are doing for us. So here we see another visual map of Puerto Rico. Gives us a better idea of where these clusters or high concentrations of coronavirus are on the island. And as it continues to be the case, the San Juan metropolitan region has the highest concentration of confirmed cases, although it's now kind of spreading evenly throughout the island. Maya West is also a high concentration one, and even now toward the south, it seems like the Ponce area as well. Even though this data is not complete, and this is what the Department of Health in Puerto Rico has continued to reiterate that they are working off incomplete data. And if you can see here, they still don't have full details on 332 confirmed cases. In other words, they can't identify where these 332 confirmed cases are from what areas or municipalities. So the data continues to be incomplete. The article concludes by saying, he said that so far in Puerto Rico, 6,696 coronavirus tests have been performed, of which 4,703 have been negative and 1,304 are still pending. We're waiting on results of those. From the data provided by the Department of Health, it appears that the age group with the most reported cases continues to be those in the 50 to 59-year-old group, with 159 of those confirmed cases. And although the Department of Health still does not have where 332 patients are from, the towns are from, it maintains that the town with the most infected people is San Juan, followed by Guaynabo and Bayamon. So this is the COVID-19 update. I did mention at the outset that I wanted to cover some information um, regarding the police office or the police force here in Puerto Rico. So this is the article that I wanted to cover from El Nuevo Dia for April 9th on Thursday. And the headline mentions here that they've added 102 police officers into self-quarantine because of the coronavirus. This is a high jump in just a single day, and it makes the total amount of officers that are quarantined, it increases the number to 789 of them. So let's go ahead and cover this article briefly and see what's happening here. And it says, a group of 102 police officers reporting to the Juan Domingo headquarters in Guaynabo were sent to quarantine because of the coronavirus, COVID-19. Since the emergency began, it is the largest group of quarantined individuals that the police office or the police force has ever had, which now is up to 789 off-duty officers who are in isolation. And this was informed by the commissioner of the Bureau of Emergency Management and Disaster Administration, General Jose Burgos. Meanwhile, the number of infected police confirmed cases increased to 18, according to Burgos in a press release. Now, regarding the confirmed cases for the coronavirus, 7 are from Aguas Buenas, 3 are from Yauco, 2 are from Maya West, 1 from Moca, 1 is from Morovis, 1 is from the Carolina, 1 from Maya West, and 1 from Rincon, and 1 from San Germán. So that's the breakdown of these 18 confirmed cases within the police force. The Caimito, Aguas Buenas, Yauco, and San Germán police stations reopened after being disinfected and cleaned. Now, in conclusion, this article finishes off by saying 102 uniformed officers reporting to the Juan Domingo headquarters, including the Metro drug personnel, were placed in preventive isolation after an agent presented symptoms and was subjected to the COVID-19 test. And this was what was reported by General Burgos today. So this is your COVID-19 update for Puerto Rico. Thanks for watching. This is Puerto Rico Headline News.